Tension is rising again around the case of Nnamdi Kanu, and right now his legal battle has entered what many observers are calling a critical stage. The courtroom proceedings, the appeals, the public reactions, and the political conversations happening behind the scenes are all coming together at the same time. This is no longer just another court case. It has become one of the most closely watched legal matters in Nigeria. As it stands, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, is serving a life sentence after being convicted on terrorism-related charges by the Federal High Court in Abuja. That judgment changed the direction of the entire case. Before the conviction, there were many arguments, adjournments, and legal debates. After the conviction, everything shifted to appeals and fresh legal challenges.
If you are following this story closely, you will understand why people are saying this is a defining moment. And before we go deeper, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any update. These are real-time discussions that affected the country and you need to stay informed. Now here is where the tension truly comes in. Kanu's legal team has not accepted the judgment quietly. They are challenging both the process and the outcome. They argue that there were legal irregularities and that certain aspects of the law applied in the conviction should be reviewed carefully. When lawyers begin to question the legal foundation of a conviction, especially one as serious as life imprisonment, that automatically raises public interest. In simple terms, what is happening now is a battle of interpretation.
One side believes the law was correctly applied. The other side believes there were constitutional issues that must be addressed. That is why this stage is critical. Appeals are not just about emotions. They are about technical legal arguments. A single point of law can change everything. While this is happening in the courtroom, conversations are also happening outside the courtroom. Supporters of Kanu continue to call for a review of the judgment. They say the matter should be handled with fairness and transparency. On the other hand, some commentators argue that national security concerns must also be respected and that the judiciary must be allowed to work without pressure. This balance between security and civil rights is part of what makes this case so sensitive. It is not just about one individual.
It is about how Nigeria handles cases that involve strong political opinions, separatist movements, and national unity. As proceedings continue, there have been moments in court that show how intense the situation has become. At different points, requests have been made regarding documentation, custody conditions, and procedural matters. Some of those requests were granted, some were denied. Every small development quickly becomes headline news because people are watching closely. And let me say this clearly, whether you agree with Kanu's ideology or not, the legal process itself matters to every Nigerian. The way this case is handled will shape public trust in the judicial system. That is why this moment is bigger than one person. Please, if you value balanced updates like this, like the video and subscribe right now.
It helps the channel grow and keeps you connected to verified information. Another key point to understand is the emotional atmosphere in the Southeast. Many people there see this case as deeply personal. For some, Kanu represents a voice of frustration. For others, he represents controversy. But either way, emotions are involved. And when emotions mix with legal proceedings, tension naturally increases. Meanwhile, political leaders are being careful with their words. Some have called for calm. Some have encouraged respect for the rule of law. Others have suggested that dialogue could play a role in reducing tension. You can see that the matter is not just legal, it is also political and social. Let us also talk about the appeal process. Appeals take time. Lawyers will submit written arguments.
The court will review records from the trial. There may be hearings where both sides presented their positions. This stage requires patience because appellate courts focus heavily on technical accuracy. They examine whether the law was properly interpreted and whether due process was followed. And here is something important. Appellate courts do not always focus on public emotion. They focus on legal principles. So even though there is public tension, the judges will concentrate on the written law and constitutional standards. Some observers believe this appeal could redefine parts of how terrorism laws are interpreted in Nigeria. Others believe the conviction will be upheld. At this moment, No one can say with certainty what the final outcome will be. That uncertainty is part of what is driving national attention. Again, please like this video and subscribe if you appreciate clear and simple explanations. I am breaking this down so everyone can understand it. Another dimension of this story is international attention. Human rights groups outside Nigeria have made comments in the past about fair trial standards and due process. While these statements do not decide court outcomes, they add another layer to public discussion. Inside Nigeria, families and community leaders have made humanitarian appeals. They are asking for mercy and reconsideration. These appeals show the human side of the case. Behind every legal file, there are families, communities, and emotions. At the same time, government officials maintain that the legal system must run its course. They emphasize that Nigeria is a country governed by laws and that court judgments should be respected unless overturned by higher courts. This creates a moment of waiting for the appellate court to speak, waiting for legal clarity, waiting to see whether the life sentence stands or changes. And during waiting periods, rumors often spread. That is why it is important to focus only on confirmed developments. Sensational headlines can create unnecessary panic. Verified information is what truly matters. Let me remind you again, please support the channel by liking this video and subscribing. Staying informed is powerful. Now, beyond the courtroom, there is a bigger question. What does this mean for Nigeria's future? This case touches on national unity, federal authority, regional identity, and constitutional interpretation. When one case intersects with so many issues, it naturally becomes historic. If the appeal leads to a major legal shift, it could influence future cases involving political speech and national security. If the conviction is upheld firmly, it could reinforce strict interpretations of existing laws. Either way, this is a moment that legal scholars will likely discuss for years. The critical stage we are talking about is not just about timing, it is about consequence. Decisions made now will have long-term impact. Many Nigerians are also asking whether political dialogue could happen alongside legal proceedings. Dialogue and legal process are not the same thing, but sometimes they operate in parallel. Calm conversations can reduce tension while courts handle legal arguments. And it is also important to note that court proceedings must remain respectful. Judges, lawyers, and officials operate within strict professional standards. High-profile cases often test the patience of everyone involved. As we continue to watch this situation, one thing is clear. Nigeria is observing closely. Every statement, every adjournment, every ruling is analyzed in detail. And I will keep breaking it down in simple English so everyone can understand. So again, like this video and subscribe to stay updated. The next few months may determine the direction of this case. Appeals do not move overnight. They require documentation, review, and careful judgment. But once an appellate decision comes, it can either confirm the lower court's position or alter it significantly. At this point, the country is in a moment of anticipation. There is no final answer yet beyond the conviction that has already been delivered. The focus now is on what higher courts will decide. This is why tension is rising. It is not chaos, it is anticipation. It is the awareness that a major legal decision is under review.